Okay, I don't know whether this is a post-mortem or a mid-mortem, but this is with regard to 2016 5090. I have completed the songwriting, the initial songwriting anyway, the initial songwriting. Maybe that's a great gift in life when one can laugh at oneself. Or not. Hard to say sometimes. Anyway, I have laid down 50 demos. And I don't have any notes, or else this speech might go very smoothly, or at least more smoothly than it is. Or it might, or it will. I realized something when I was ratcheting up to making this little talk here, and that is that in previous years, I think this is my 7th year. Yeah. I started in 2010 with foam. Dang, I've got a little piece of hair. Okay. TMI. With foam, I started in 2010, started doing 5090. I think I've done one every year. So I've been at 7 foams and 7 5090s. And in case you haven't heard, foam is February album writing month. February album writing month, FAWM, where you try to do 14 songs in 28 days, unless it's a leap year and you can try to do 14 and a half songs in 28 days. They take an old Jack London quote to paraphrase, you chase inspiration with a sledgehammer. So basically, you just slam a bunch of stuff through, a bunch of material through very quickly. Okay, so moving forward to 5090, 7 years later. The thing that I was getting at is, it seems to me, in my experience from year to year, I kind of make up my mind before 5090 begins in the summer. It begins, I think, July 5th or July 4th. Goes to the beginning of October. But I decide, going in, I say to myself, either I'm gonna get 50 songs, or I don't care this year if I get 4, 5, 10 songs. I'm just gonna kind of hang around and see what happens, but I don't really need to get to 50. But in the years when I decide I'm gonna do 50, man, I really drive. I think last year I lost some momentum after an early drive, but I still got to 50. But every other year that I've decided to get to 50, I think that's 4 or 5 times out of 7. So that would be 3 or 4 times that I've really driven hard and gotten there by the end of July. Because my reasoning is that if I don't push super hard to get 50 songs written, it's not going to happen, because I'm going to keep procrastinating and keep putting it off. And so when I decide to do it, I really do it. And what I did this year was I'm working 4 or 5 days a week. And pretty much every day off I did 5 or 10 songs. And now there's a bit of a loophole with 5090 and foam in that what's considered to be a new song is basically lyrics. So these are all new lyrics. Everything was freshly typed into Notepad. Now, there's another approach that I've tried in the past, which is kind of different, and that's writing everything down in longhand and then typing it into the computer or whatever. Or just leaving it in a tablet. But basically, for the most part, I just work in Notepad, and that's what I did here. So I'm sitting on 50 songs. Yesterday's sesh was songs that I sequenced 2 days ago. So they all have the date 7/25, this being 7/27, or the 27th of July. Well, I did the recording on the 26th of July, the guitar parts and the vocals. But in yesterday's session, I was going through and I was doing 10 songs to get to 50, and I realized 8 songs in that I had been using this mic and the amp is over there, like 5 feet away, and this mic had been spinning around. So it's in like various positions, and I was looking at the waves that I was making with the guitar recording, and sometimes they would be like this in the wave editor. Other times they would be like this, and I was like, what? How is the volume changing so much? What happened? There must be some with one of these effects pedals. And how am I getting this sort of reverb effect? It must be the amp I'm using. I'm not used to this custom PH1012. No. What it turned out to be was I was recording on this. It was more or less spun over this way, and the amps are over there. Anyway, I got 8 songs in. Got to the 9th song and switched over. It's because this UR22 from Steinberg has left and right channels, and so I was getting a signal and I could see the thing. It kind of helps if my hand is in the picture, but I could see the thing, bouncing, like, yeah, it's recording. I remember setting up. I kept moving the mic around, trying to get more volume. The mic that wasn't being used, And then I kept turning the amp up. It was pretty loud. It's amazing what a 10-watt amp will do. I'm amazed, anyway. In one of the songs, you can actually hear it feeding back a little bit. So you can get feedback sounds with low-powered amps. Low-powered amps. Easily amused over here. Anyway, blah, 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 this gear, that gear, the other gear. I knew going in that I wanted to work out these guitars and effects pedals and amplifiers more than anything. And I did arrive at, I think out of these 50 recordings, 4 or 5 of them are actually, at least 4 or 5 of them would be something that I would go back and actually produce in the box, really going into detail with the drums and the bass and all that. Although there's always that thing, and your mileage may vary, but there's always that thing of the first demo having an energy that every version of that song which comes later will lack. So the demo might have a real simple drum and bass and all that, or it might just be somebody playing the guitar and singing. And then they take the material into the studio and then they add a whole band and everything. And then some onlooker or on-listener, if you will, who hears both versions at some point after that, they say, oh, I like the original demo better. It's just got an energy that the produced version doesn't have. So there's always that. Anyway, I got to 50. Had that sort of real mishap with the microphone yesterday. But other than that, most of the recording sessions went pretty well. And I did invent some new progressions. But I have to say, I've got so many, see, it's that allergy thing. I've got so many files on this hard drive that often when I'm doing a new song, because I want to jam, I want to work the guitar out on the pedals more than anything, I just take an old file and, okay, the easiest way is to just use it directly. Just wipe the old guitar and vocals, write new lyrics, record a new guitar. The next easiest way is to change the tempo of the piece. Wipe the guitar and vocals from before, but change the tempo. Another way is to take something that's tumbling, like a swing or a shuffle, dun 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 dun, and change it into straight fours, bum 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 bum, or vice versa, right? That's one way of changing the feel. Another way is to load up a track, then just wipe not only the guitar and the vocals, but the other instruments, and reprogram those using kind of that same drum vibe. And then there's all kinds of permutations of all those examples I just gave of, that you can do. More extensive or less extensive changes. But there were several that I worked up from scratch. I have a template file that really doesn't have anything in it except some VSTs. I need to get over here, yeah. It has some VSTs and VSTIs preloaded in their settings, and I can work with those in general. But it doesn't really have any music or drum beats. So there were several that I did build up from scratch this year. But I'm not going to say that I built 50 songs from scratch. But I will reiterate that the lyrics are all new. And the guitar playing is all new. And I don't believe there's a single one, that is a rehash of a previous song, like with the same feel, the same time, tempo. There's not a single one that is that much of a copycat. Now, I did notice I get sort of a certain lyrical style. For me, the lyrics aren't that important. I guess I sort of get annoyed at listening to other singers trying to tell me stuff. And so I kind of figured I don't really want to tell anybody anything. And another thing is, I really like listening to foreign groups where I don't understand a word they're saying, and then I can just really get into the singer's performance. And so I'm figuring, if I really enjoy listening to this foreign music where I don't even know what they're saying, when I do my own stuff, what does it matter, what I'm saying? I like singing, but I don't want to preach. And even when I try to avoid preaching, it still seeps in. Like, it's something that I personally have to fight against, telling you what to think. Or how it is, what to think and how it is. Anyway, I'm 50 songs in. Now I have 2 months. I might do more. But a lot of this now is going back and seeing which ones I want to continue to work with. I recommend this, chasing the inspiration with a sledgehammer. There are people who say you can't get anything out of it. You can't write a proper song, but there are at least 3 or 4 that I'm actually quite happy with that I did during this month. And if you have a different temperament, maybe you can approach it differently as far as how hard you want to push. Maybe you can be more even-handed. But like I said, when I make up my mind beforehand that I want to get all 50, I gotta do it. I just gotta push. I gotta get through it, because if I don't, then I don't think it's gonna happen, knowing myself. I'm just gonna keep putting it off, and then there won't be any time left at the end. So I've been pushing really hard several of these last Julys, and anyway, that's where I'm at. That's my FOM 2016 5090 Mid Mortem, Post Mortem, Synopsis, whatever. All right, cheers.